The fans are as guilty as the Roughriders in a shocking loss Friday night. When Tyler Krapenia kicked his sixth field goal of the night with 6 minutes to go in the game, many fans from the sellout crowd figured they had shivered long enough. The Roughriders were up by 12, the game was seemingly in the bag, and the temperature was well below freezing. Unfortunately, the Riders themselves checked out a little too early as well. Two Red Blacks touchdowns in the last 2.5 minutes lifted Ottawa to a 3,332 victory, denying the Roughriders a chance to clinch an elusive playoff berth this weekend. Players handle losses in different ways. Riders quarterback Kevin Glenn was at a loss for an explanation. Glenn read CBC "Yup, too many field goals, not enough touchdowns," said a frustrated quarterback Kevin Glenn, moments after what must have felt like a kick in the gut. "If we score touchdowns, that game is a different story." The story which should have been written was all about head coach and GM Chris Jones, and the masterful job he has done rebuilding the organization from scratch. It was earlier than this last year. In fact, Thanksgiving weekend, the Roughriders were put out of their misery, officially erased from the CFL playoff picture with 4 games still to play. There was little doubt how head coach Chris Jones was feeling after Friday's loss. "You watched the same game one did," he said. Glenn read CBC over Thanksgiving turkey a year ago. Riders fans wanted to carve up and sacrifice Chris Jones, the architect of another forgettable campaign in Saskatchewan. The Riders' boss of all things, even though it was his first year in charge, had no semblance of a plan. He blew away the franchise record for most players used in a single season. In fact, in 2016, more than 200 players were a part of the Riders organization for at least a day, as Jones seemed desperate, auditioning anyone with football experience. This year, after 14 weeks, we could say there is a plan and it's coming together. Running back Keenan LaFrance scored one of 2 Roughriders touchdowns against Ottawa. Tyler Krapenia kicked 6 field goals. The Canadian press coming off 2 road wins out east. The Riders' record was 8-6. Friday's game at home against the Red Blacks should have been a walk. It was, until about 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Suddenly, it fell apart. 2 Ottawa majors, compliments of the Riders, surrendering costly penalties and third-down conversions, including a fake punt. The defense can't blame it on being tired, either, as the Riders' offense controlled the ball for nearly 3/4 of the game. As much as they love their pint-sized kicker, the Riders saw a little too much of Krapenia Friday night. Still, 6 field goals and 2 touchdowns should have been enough. "We get a turnover with 5 minutes left to go and the game's probably over," said Jones, after being asked how they let it slip away. "But we take a penalty to extend a drive, and then we can't cover them in man coverage." "So you watched the same game one did," which ended the shortest Chris Jones post-game media conference of the season. And then there is Riders receiver Duron Carter, who apparently smiles a lot when he's upset. Glenn read CBC Duron Carter, on the other hand, was his chatty self. The Riders' multi-talented receiver with the heart of a child had himself a 230-yard night with 11 catches. "I was on fire, just like playing NBA Jam. I couldn't miss. I had the blue flame going on under me. That's just how I felt. I couldn't drop anything," said Carter, who passed the 1,000-yard mark for the second time in his 4-year CFL career. While the rest of his teammates were trying to come to grips with how they could blow a game like that, the always smiling Carter was talking about cookies. "That's football. That's life. You can't break a cookie evenly down the middle, that's what they say. That's how the cookie crumbles." Any other player who talked and smiled like that after a loss might not go over too well with teammates. But that's just Duron. "I had a very good game, but I'm very upset right now. I guess it's a nervous reaction. When I'm very upset, I guess I just smile." Riders fans should probably try the same. After all, they are a heck of a lot better off than they were this time a year ago.